Well, hello, and welcome back to JP Gaming and Kerbal Space Program, where we're trying to unlock the whole tech tree, only getting 10% of the science gain that is available. So I started off this episode by going into our tracking station, and I actually found Jeb. Apparently, when we lost that craft, it didn't actually get lost, it just didn't recover when the game crashed in the first episode, or between the first and second episode, I guess. Anyways, we are this time going to be going to Duna, so I just time warped a whole bunch there, and now we're going into the actual build menu, and we're into the VAB, I should say, and now we're going to be building this craft that is going to be landing on Duna, and then we're also going to be making something that is going to be able to stay in an orbit around Duna, and then just maybe go to Ike. A little bit of foreshadowing there. I might as well say it now. Yeah, we are gonna be landing on Ike as well, but it's not gonna end too well. But we're building this thing up. I was thinking about how we could make the base a little bit wider, and I'm also placing those solar panels down on that wider base, which is a science storage unit that we get from Restock Plus. I think I got that from Restock Plus. And since we don't actually have any fairings, I'm gonna kind of be building in the relay antenna that I want to bring here on our second stage. Yeah, I'm building that kind of into that cargo bay, a whole thingy. I think it's kind of like the small cargo bay. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, it's basically a small cargo bay. And then of course we make a mid stage that had like 3,000 meters per second of delta V, so we are gonna be fine there. And yeah, we're building this up just like this, since like I said, we don't have a fairing, so we don't have any way of actually protecting the upper stage there, but it's pretty much aerodynamically shaped, so we're just gonna let that be. And it's a wonderful night launch we're doing this time around, because it just happened to be night. I'm not too good at looking at that beforehand and actually be launching in the daytime. But we're actually going to be landing in the dark as well when we get to Duna, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, the whole launch went pretty well. No big hiccups really. This thing was actually quite stable and yeah, quite aerodynamic, even though it could have been better, of course. I really would have liked to shield those antennas and science experiments a little bit better, but we get what we get. Or we have to work with what we get, I guess. And yeah, now just circularizing up this, so we are good and circularized. And yeah, we have a ton of fuel left in this stage, which is great, because that means we're not only going to be able to get to Duna, but we're going to be able to do some maneuvers in like mid-course maneuvers, of course, and stuff like that. And we can also make some maneuvers once we're there to get to Ike, because of course we have Ike so near Duna, and it is quite easy getting an intersection with it, since it has a very strong gravity for being that close to another planet with, well, a decent amount of gravity, I should say. Because Duna doesn't have that much gravity, but yeah, I think I've seen someone talk about that. Maybe it was Scott Manley or something that talked about that Ike and Duna, that combination would actually never be able to happen in real life, because they would just like get into each other and destroy each other within a couple of 100 years or something like that, because both of their gravitational pull would be too strong or something. I can't really remember. Or maybe that the orbits would be very different and would change a lot because they're just tugging on each other. I can't remember. But I know at least that Ike is very big for being a moon around such a small planet as Duna. And now we're actually getting up to Duna here. And yeah, I just talked over all of the stuff that we did there, which wasn't really a lot. Yeah, we made the maneuver. Uh, we executed the maneuver, and now we're here. And we're gonna start off with actually doing a arrow braking maneuver with the whole ship, because of course the bottom stage of this ship that is not gonna be the lander, we are gonna try and use that for some other stuff, mainly of course getting to Ike. And while I was going through the atmosphere here, I realized, okay, we're not gonna have enough power to actually stop us, so I'm gonna burn a little bit to get us slowed down. And then we actually got an encounter with Ike, and of course just doing some science experiments now as well. So we have those done, science experiments while flying high. So now we have that from in orbit high, in orbit low, and flying high. And we got past Ike there for a second. And of course we got some experiments done while flying high above Ike's surface as well. Or in orbit high, it might be called. I don't know. And right now I'm actually just switching over my orbit. So we are orbiting the other way around, because we were orbiting like I can't say counterclockwise, but against the rotation of Duna. Yeah. And when we were orbiting like that, we're also orbiting against the rotation of Ike. So to make it a lot more efficient and easier to get to Ike, I wanted to switch that around, so we're actually rotating with Ike, so we're not losing all of that momentum when we go to Ike. And yeah, it's a whole thing. Of course, it is just way better to be in the same rotation as the planet with your orbit, or as the moon you're trying to get to. And now we've slowed it down enough that I think it is time to actually try and do a landing. And landing this thing, I mean, normally landing on Duna isn't that hard. As long as you bring enough parachutes, you're fine. But it turned out I should have maybe brought some more parachutes. Maybe I shouldn't have brought those drogue chutes and instead taken 2 big parachutes instead. 2 of those big blue ones. And yeah, we're just falling down here now. Everything is going great. We opened up our drogue chutes and our main chute and fell down a bit. They coupled that heat shield, or jettisoned that heat shield, and then we made this little hop that apparently broke my antenna, and I didn't realize that straight away. So I was trying to like maneuver this thing a little bit, because we still had a bit of a connection. And yeah, I'm just doing all the science experiments, but yeah, then I realized I can't open this. Why can't I open it? Because it's broken. So we had to redo the whole thing, of course. And it wasn't actually the worst thing in the world that I had to redo this mission, because I did forget to do all the experiments while flying low. So yeah, now I've done all of that, so we are secure. And now we're going to be getting down and trying this again. Opening the parachutes, jettisoning the heat shield, which actually slowed us down about 1 meter per second. Which is not a whole lot, but it's still some. So I think that might have helped us. But no, the antenna survived. So now we're just going to be time warping up until it's daytime, so we can get some power into those solar panels and into those batteries. And we can start transmitting all of our data. And now all of that is done. So now let's get back to our transfer ship, I guess. And I'm just going to be doing a couple of orbits here until we get an encounter. And we actually got quite a good encounter here with Ike, where we got to like 50 kilometers or something like that, which I thought was pretty good. So we're just slowing ourselves down here now so we can get to in space low above Ike. And we got that, got the science experiments from both the thermometer and barometer. I think it's the barometer, right? Yeah. Anyways, and now we're going in for the landing. And I realized, of course, this ship is not made to be landing anywhere. So I'm gonna have to try and land very softly and then just do a touch and go, basically. So we're gonna touch down, do the science experiments, and then just straight away fly off again. Or well, at least that was the idea of this. It didn't really go that well. Well, we landed at least. We did do that, and I got the experiments, then I was gonna go out into space again, but yeah, no. We didn't have the power to turn this thing enough, so yeah, it just exploded. But that is actually it for today's episode. We unlocked a couple of things here, I think. Yeah, we unlocked a couple of parts, but that is it for today's episode. And in the next one, we're gonna be going to Eve. So I'll see you guys then. Oh, bye-bye.